All right. Greetings, my friend. My name is Peter, founder and CEO of Global Youth Forum. And as we head to the United Nations 2024 Civil Society Conference, we have our message. And our message goes to all the civil society organizations across the globe and those that are taking part at the UN Civil Society Conference. Again, thank you to my team at Global Youth Forum for sharing your thoughts, your ideas on the 5 thematic areas for the Summit of the Future: sustainable development and financing for development, international peace and security, science, technology, and innovation and digital cooperation, the Global Digital Compact, Youth and Future Generations, the Declaration on Future Generations, and Transforming Global Governance. So our submission revolves around these 5 key areas. On our submissions or during our application process, we highlighted what we think or what our thoughts are in terms of transforming how things work. But painting this really quick, sustainable development goals are off track. Have the civil society organization been doing their part? Have the government institutions or organization doing their part? Have the private sector been doing their part? If yes, why are we on 12%? Why are only 12% of the sustainable development goals on track? If no, how can we do things differently? And based on the information we have, or I have, in addition to being a youth reporter, the conference aims to be innovative, impactful, and inclusive. And that's why there are online forums, there are online sessions, off-site workshops that you guys can chime right in. Now, let us dive right in to our submission. So our topics, the ones that we selected, was on Chapter 1, Sustainable Development and Financing for Development. So we were asked on this particular question to submit our written statement on the chapter, including key issues, work we have undertaken, and put our feeling to enhance the civil society conference. So we selected one, and this is Education for Sustainable Development and Global Citizenship. In 2019, Global Youth Forum visited 4 secondary schools in rural areas in Kenya, that was in Siaya County, to educate them about the Sustainable Development Goals. We spoke to 948 students, and only 2 of them had an idea what the Sustainable Development Goals really means. This means that the Sustainable Development Goals messages are not on or at the hands of the grassroots people. This means that people are being left behind, people don't know what's going on, and as we do these conferences, we need to put those in the marginalized communities or those in the rural places in mind so that they are not left behind. So, what is our submission? Civil society to lead the establishment of localized SDG clubs at local or national or international schools. Teach lessons in local languages with action-based projects resulting to measurable outcomes to accelerate action for the sustainable development goals at the grassroots level. Only civil society who deliver measurable results and impact to be funded. And why we say this, we hear more of talks, but no results. Because if people deliver what they are saying that they are delivering, then the sustainable development goals will not be on track. Formation of civil society coalitions and grouping based on their most priority sustainable development goals and the region of operation, and then funding or resourcing them as a group to drive change toward the specific sustainable development goals. Just to expound on this, we are overstretched. You find a civil society, like 6 of them, working on one sustainable development goal in the same region, fighting for same funds. How about consolidating all the funds and resources and channeling them to a coalition or a group of people championing that particular agenda? Development of a transparent, accountable, and reliable funding and resourcing system based on results and impact, and not on the talks without actions. Again, that is straightforward, my friends. Deliver results, get funding. Deliver the talks, don't get the support that you need. And then restructuring the civil society funding system to be based on impact delivered and not on the quality of report submission. get the movements to show their real impact on the community or in the community, and do not base the rewarding or any other thing on the submitted reports. Because what you see, they say in Kenya, things on the ground are different. So go and have a proper assessment of what people are doing on the ground that they can account for and not what they are writing on paper. Now, let us get to this chapter again on what key reforms relating to shape this particular chapter that we think can be incorporated into the talks and probably shed more light for the civil society groups. Now, formation of civil society coalitions and grouping of organizations based on their priority sustainable development goal. Number 2, establishment of a 21st century funding system for the civil society that is transparent and open to all stakeholders, enhancing accountability and integrity among the members. Then establishment of SDG targets for the civil society and setting up an annual civil society SDG award for the members. Establishment of civil society foundation responsible for mobilizing resources for the registered organizations and ensuring the resources and finances are used to drive actions for the sustainable development goals. Consolidation of funding and available resources to address major global issues, i.e. poverty, climate action, decent work, and economic growth before strengthening other issues. Set up an annual goal for all the CSOs in all the countries and task them to deliver on that particular goal. Why we say that? We are overstretched. Everybody's everywhere trying to do everything, so we can't even measure what we are looking to achieve. So having that will help us deliver results. Now, let us dive right into chapter 2, which talks about international peace and security, because what we do at Global Youth Forum is using sports as a tool to mobilize young people, empower them with skills through hands-on mentorship and coaching, and getting them to create their own jobs or secure jobs so that they can earn income and live better lives. So again, submitting our statement to this chapter. Sustainably reduce corruption and bribery in all the forms. So that is SDG 16.5. Now, what do we do here? According to the World Bank, corruption is a global problem for development. So to fight it, we all have a role to play. As a result of corruption, a lot of communities have been left behind in terms of development, growth, and this has resulted to violence and insecurity among the communities, leading to loss of lives, abuse of children and women. And then to address this bribery issues, the following needs to be put into place by civil society and those in charge. Civil society vetting and audit to register and close corrupt entities. Work directly with the local communities to audit the civil society groups and see who is delivering who and who is corrupt and who is not. Establish clear systems on who can and who cannot establish civil society in a country, because you realize the cartels and all these people who have their hands in money have their own ways of registering civil societies and looting money everywhere, manipulating reports, assuming that they are doing things, yet they are not delivering. So look on that. Civil society organization to be transparent in all their dealings and to set standards to promote peaceful coexistence of all in the society. That is our submission for chapter 2. And then you look at a summary of that chapter 2 on what we think can add more value as members engage on this particular statement. Include corruption-free civil society organization around the world. Whatever we do to eliminate corruption within the civil society will make us thrive. Then the system shifts as dealing, more often you hear people dealing with the symptoms, ignoring the root causes. How about dealing with the root causes of insecurity and violence and not just the symptoms? Community involvement and engagement on peace building initiatives, get them to find out what their issues are. For example, in Kenya, we are looking about land issues. We are looking about jobs for the young people. Now, what can we do to include these communities? Community involvement and engagement on peace building initiatives is very key. Equitable distribution of resources across communities. You find the haves and the have-nots. How can we get these people to work together? And I'm glad I'm looking at what the conference has, and I see intergenerational youth hub and so many other things. So it involves much of inclusivity. Then the use of artificial intelligence in building global peace and security. How then do we use technology to support the efforts towards building peace and security? Another topic of our interest, which means on the science, technology, and innovation and digital cooperation. Very interesting topic. And again, bringing technology into real action to solve the world's problems. Now, most civil societies are currently using huge funds and resources to run the expensive offices, including the infrastructure with plenty of conferences, which involves much of talks. And in most cases, we see no action. At the community level, you just hear them at high level where they come, talk, off they go. And this conference needs to shift that. More focus should be based on impact being delivered at the community level. Yes, we can talk, but then go and deliver the results to those that we serve. Civil society around a country should be consolidated in one building. For example, you go to UK, we have London Marathon House, where all the sports things are under one roof and not everywhere across the country, ensuring that the limited resources are stretched. Now, share resources and good impact delivery models. Sharing among the groups as well as incorporating of digital and remote working models will ensure the civil society deliver the needed impact to the grassroots level, ensuring that no finances and resources is wasted. Remember, SDG, which states responsible production and responsible consumption. We really need to use what we have to get what we want. Now, what are our key reforms related to Chapter 3? Incorporation of remote and digital work in the civil society spaces. Shift from conference models of delivery to grassroots mobilization and action delivery models. Establishment of global digital civil society platform where entities can meet, collaborate, work, and join projects by sharing their best practices, resources, and expertise with each other. There we mean, if we say volunteering, we mean volunteering, not other people getting paid and all sorts of things. Get people to do the work. Use of data generated by science and innovation to drive actions and change within the civil society spaces of operation. And then inclusive digital system, ensuring marginalized communities are involved in the development, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of their local projects and their local solutions. So, as we head on to the next one, this is our key area because our age bracket at Global Youth Forum is always between the ages of 16 to 35. Now, what are we doing to prepare the young people for the future, like to help them realize their full potential? What are we doing? What is our submission? Now, we looked at SDG 4.4. Now, by 2030, substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical, vocational, for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. That is what SDG 4.4 states. According to the ILO, more than 72 million youth in Africa are not in education, employment, or training. Majority of them are women. At Global Youth Forum, we are running a program called Molding for Work, empowering young people with these skills to enable them get a job or create a job. Now, what is our input and our insights to the civil society organizations taking part in the conference and probably joining the conversation online? One, identification of job market gaps and provide relevant training to the youth to fit in the market. And this goes probably to the academia or those in the educational institutions. Make the education relevant to what the market needs. Then the establishment of collaboration system between the academia and the private sector to ensure that we have security for jobs when students graduate. We are talking about 100% transition from education into employment. And we were just looking at a research with my team the other day, and we realized that there is like a gap of 15 years If a student comes from, like, let's say in Kenya, and they want to go work in Europe, there is a 15 years gap that have to be filled for them to fit in that particular job market. So you can see what that really entails. Then establishment of local and national civil society apprenticeship programs for young people. Get? So because much of our content is on theory, how can we get people to practice and get the senior citizens who have learned this thing, have seen what can work, and can mentor and coach these students? Now, empower students to pursue their passions, follow their talents at an early age, and then link them to right mentors and coaches that will get them to learn hands-on skills to bring their passions and talents into reality, or turn those passions and talents into professions or enterprises. Number 5, formalize self-education and based job recruitment system on what one can do and not what academic qualifications are. We realize that young people out there, they are brilliant, they are great, but some of them lack the papers, but they can do things. Now, let us summarize that in 6 points. Number 1, funding or allocating funds to institutions based on students they get to job and not how many graduates they churn out. Incorporation of sport into every element of education system as a means of building character among the young people. Then education system based on practical learning as opposed to theoretical learning. You can as well say 2 days in class, 3 days in the field work, with experts working with these students in their fields of interest. Then intergenerational collaborations, i.e. senior people in civil society, are deputized by young people who learn from on how to navigate institutional challenges and issues. Then establishment of local and national or international community volunteer clubs by civil society organizations to help secure opportunities and build the work experiences for these young people. And then the formation of local, national, and international coalition of youth movements, working on various SDGs and collaborating with others for shared learning and group and advancement for the SDGs and the 2030 agenda. So that's a summary of our engagement on all this conversation. But as we bring it home, we want to remind all the civil society organizations across the globe and those that will be taking part at the conference that actions speak louder than words. Let's all go out there and let's all make the impact we want to see, and let's all contribute towards creating our common future.